One sunny morning, a wooden treehouse stands quietly in the green forest. Alice, David, and Chris walk slowly along a small forest path. Chris runs ahead and looks excited to see the tall tree. The old treehouse stands high above the ground on the big tree. A long wooden ladder hangs down from the small treehouse door. David carefully checks the ladder before climbing. Alice and Chris follow him into the small wooden treehouse. Warm sunlight shines through the small window inside. Chris walks around and looks carefully at the wooden floor. The quiet treehouse feels old but interesting. Suddenly, Chris feels something strange under his foot. He stops walking and looks down at the wooden floor. Chris notices a loose wooden board moving slightly. He bends down and slowly lifts the strange board. Chris slowly lifts the wooden board and looks inside the small space. A small, dusty treasure box rests quietly under the wooden floor. Chris opens his eyes wide and calls Alice and David quickly. Alice and David walk closer and look down with surprise. David carefully takes the small treasure box out of the floor. The old wooden box looks mysterious and very ancient. Alice gently wipes the dust from the top of the box. They notice a small paper attached to the box lid. Chris slowly opens the folded paper note. The note says the treasure opens only after solving 3 clues. Chris looks excited and curious about the hidden clues. David looks around the treehouse carefully for the first clue. Alice walks to the small window and looks outside. Chris notices a strange symbol carved on the wooden wall. The family gathers near the symbol and studies it carefully. Chris suddenly notices the arrow shape in the symbol. The arrow looks like it is pointing toward the window. Alice slowly moves toward the small treehouse window. She looks outside at the tall trees and the green forest. Chris suddenly notices a red mark on a big oak tree. Alice also sees the same mark through the window. David decides to climb down and check the tree. Chris quickly climbs down the wooden ladder. Alice and David follow him to the forest ground. The family walks toward the oak tree with the red mark. Chris touches the mark and looks around curiously. David finds a small wooden box hidden behind the tree. Inside the box, they discover a small, shining golden key. Alice smiles and says they have found the first clue. David carefully holds the small golden key in his hand. Chris looks at the key with excitement and curiosity. Alice wonders where the key should be used. The family slowly walks back toward the treehouse. Chris climbs the ladder quickly and enters the treehouse. Alice and David follow him inside the wooden room. Chris places the treasure box carefully on the floor. David tries the golden key in the small lock. The key does not open the treasure box. Alice notices another small symbol on the box lid. The symbol looks like a small compass sign. Chris begins searching the treehouse for something like a compass. David looks inside an old wooden shelf near the wall. He discovers a small, rusty compass inside the shelf. The family realizes they have found the second clue. David carefully picks up the old, rusty compass from the shelf. Chris watches the compass needle move slowly. Alice notices the needle pointing toward the north side of the treehouse. The family follows the direction shown by the compass. Chris walks toward the north wall of the treehouse. He sees a small wooden panel on the wall. David gently pushes the small wooden panel. The panel opens and reveals a hidden space. Inside the space, there is a tiny metal key. Chris happily takes the small metal key. David tries the metal key in the treasure box lock. The treasure box slowly opens with a soft click. Inside the box, they see old family photos and a gold coin. Alice smiles and says the real treasure is their adventure. The family laughs happily inside the treehouse.